After I returned from maternity leave, my agent strongly insisted that I participate in a live-streamed interview. According to the script, the host took out a note from a box and displayed it to the camera. This round of Truth or Dare is calling your other half and acting cute for more than 30 seconds. This challenge is tough, may I inquire? Who dares to try? The host asked, directing his gaze towards me. But before he could call out my name, the new rising star Lily voluntarily took over the conversation. "Samuel, didn't we agree not to bring up my love affairs?" she blurted out. Stunned for a second, the host quickly followed along. "Good news should obviously be shared." "Lily, what does your boyfriend do for a living? Can he pick up the phone right now?" "He's simply love-struck. He'll answer no matter when I call," Lily said sweetly. As soon as her words ended, the barrage of messages crazily covered almost the entire screen. "Lord, Lily is actually in love. Which lucky man managed to win her heart?" "Oh, Lily is so pure-hearted. Her face turns instantly red at the mention of making a phone call." Everyone brimmed with anticipation for the other half of Lily. Only I took a deep breath, feeling helpless. Ever since I became pregnant with my daughter Nancy, I haven't been in front of the camera for a long time. If I can't show something of myself on this program today, I'm afraid my agent won't arrange any other work for me for the next 3 months. I need the camera to rekindle the audience's impression of me. But Lily seized the question prepared specifically for me. Was this unintentional or deliberate? I can't figure it out. On the other end, Lily had already dialed the number. Hardly had the phone rung once when a man's voice quickly came through. "Baby." In the live broadcast studio, the doting yet magnetic voice sounded. Every person in the room audibly gasped. The voice sounded remarkably like the new generation leader of the Clark family, Benjamin. "Lily is your boyfriend," wondered the host. However, the very next second, Lily herself revealed the answer. She grumbled, her face red, and complained towards the other end. "Benjamin, you're so annoying. I've told you many times you're not allowed to call me baby. Now, why won't you change?" The new rising starlet in love with the new generation leader of the Clark family, a perfect match of beauty and talent. The live comments started rapidly rising and scrolling. In the live broadcast room, many were casting envious glances at Lily. All right, my dear girl, you don't like being called baby. I won't call. But aren't you working now? Did you call because you miss me?" His tone was doting, disregarding any boundaries even before she could act coquettishly. The cheers and encouragement on site were resounding. Everywhere were sounds of uproar echoing. Only my own eyes flickered in disbelief, the almond-shaped nails dug hard into the palm. How could Benjamin be Lily's boyfriend? He is clearly my husband. Benjamin and I have been secretly married for 7 years. In these 7 years, each time I suggested going public, he would just scoff. "Olivia, if the Clark family got connected with an actress like you, we would lose our worth." He didn't agree. As time went on, everyone began to wonder why I claimed to be married, yet no significant other was ever present. Some said I was being kept by a wealthy businessman. Some said they had seen me riding in my sugar daddy's car. They made up stories that I was a shared asset in the circle, while Benjamin turned a blind eye and refused to clarify. But now he is sweetly coaxing Lily over the phone, calling her darling and princess nonstop. Even when the host reminded him that the show was being broadcast live, he merely greeted them with indifference. "Hello, everyone. I am Benjamin, Lily's boyfriend. Lily is young and naive. Would you all please look after her for my sake? Thank you." The heir to a wealthy family personally managing his girlfriend's relationships. The host and other guests said they had gotten their fill of the fun. As the call ended, the dedicated host turned his attention back towards me. "Olivia, Lily just vividly demonstrated to us a perfect coquettish act," he stated. "Would you be willing to try it too?" The host's words hung in the air. Lily instantly handed me her phone. "Olivia, I've heard a while ago that you're married, but I've never known who your husband is," she said. "You've been hiding it for so long. Isn't it about time to introduce him to us?" Her eyelashes fluttered lightly, the upward curl of her lips smug with satisfaction. She indeed had the right to be smug. She had been the one to call my husband first. Who could I possibly call then? I held the phone, unable to make a move. Spiteful bullet comments rapidly came my way. The boss who sponsors Olivia probably only cares about what happens in bed, not out of it. Otherwise, why would she be so troubled? I heard Olivia has a kid. Did she birth a bastard child? She can't even remember her own man's number. Everyone calm down. Olivia is a notorious slut in the industry. No man would admit that she is his wife, so it doesn't come as a surprise that she doesn't place calls. Under their discussion, the hashtag Olivia is unwanted quickly topped the trending list, and the event that I had gone through great lengths to obtain became once again the rat everyone sought to beat. Within the entertainment industry, my reputation isn't the best. Whenever netizens criticized me, Benjamin would have the butler activate the mansion's signal jammer. Today was no different. When Benjamin entered, the signal jammer had already been running for 5 hours. Not finding me in the living room, he frowned and pushed open the door to the nursery. Seeing that I had already tucked in warmly and laid down, he furrowed his brows and his tone was off-putting. "Can you sleep if I'm not back?" Married for 7 years, every night I would wait on the sofa until Benjamin came back to rest. But today, I didn't wait. I didn't want to face him, so I turned off all the lights, went to bed on time, vulnerable while protecting myself. Yet Benjamin found this unusual. He met my gaze and placed a large gift box on the bedside. "This is for you. Open it, maybe?" Every time Benjamin gave me a gift in the past, it was because he had angered me. Now he's presenting me with another gift. But as I looked at the box, I felt absolutely no desire to unbox it. Did he really think that he could placate me with a few gifts just because he committed infidelity? Seeing my inaction, Benjamin urged, "Olivia, what does it mean when you won't see what's inside? Don't you like it?" His eyes darkened, as if he truly put a lot of effort into this box. I hesitated for a moment, pointing at the items listed on the box, which included baby diapers, baby talcum powder, and other baby wares, and looked at him silently. "What am I supposed to do with these once I open them? Can I use any of these for myself?" I remained stoic, shedding no tears, making no show of sorrow, which bewildered Benjamin's act of kindness. The sudden outburst angered Benjamin. His face was red with rage as he pointed towards my nose and reprimanded, "Olivia, what's this attitude? You plotted this marriage. If you dare schemed against me, you must bear the consequences. Moreover, you are nothing compared to Lily. Isn't it normal for me to choose to be with her? Do you still think that I've been maintaining chastity for you? That's ridiculously funny." Benjamin's cold and emotionless voice startled the deeply sleeping Nancy. She grew uneasy and began to flail about helplessly, crying out, "Mommy, Mommy." She was so young, the voice that she produced resembled the helpless mewl of an animal cub. My heart turned soft listening to her, and I hurriedly scooped her into my arms. Benjamin, however, behaved as if he saw nothing, immediately picked up a call from Lily. "Hubby, I can't even find the slippers when you're not here. Walking on the floor feels so cold." The overly dramatized complaint came from Lily over the phone. Benjamin, who had just found Nancy's cries unbearable, immediately softened his expression. "How could you not find the slippers? They're right there." As he spoke, he paced towards the door. Outside the window, the rain was falling, unannounced. But Benjamin didn't pause as he strode out the door. He raced out like a hero, desperate to rescue his beloved. And I could only give a bitter smile, letting pain and sorrow sweep over me. After today's program, Lily found me and shared her private account with me. She couldn't comprehend the look of despair on my face when I heard Benjamin's voice through her earpiece. With contempt written all over her face, she asked me, "Olivia, what was that facial expression just now? I've been with Benjamin for more than 2 years. Aren't you aware of me?" With a blank expression on my face, she immediately showed me her private account. "Sis, take a good look. Benjamin loves me very much. Even if you bear his child, he only loves me." Lily was ruthless. The account she showed me recorded aspects of Benjamin that I was unaware of. 2 years ago in May, she mentioned, "My boyfriend adores me. I mentioned wanting to eat shrimp, and he peeled 2 pounds of them for me with his bare hands until his hands turned red." During the winter of the previous year, she wrote, "While crossing the road, a drunk driver ran a red light and almost hit me. Luckily, my boyfriend appeared just in time to protect me." Half a year ago, she said, "My boyfriend is so naive. When I said I didn't want to have a child, he actually gave me the child someone else gave birth to. I was merely jesting when I said I didn't want to give birth. For him, I would be more than willing to have 100 children." Lily's words were vivid. As I read them, my tears unconsciously started to flow. The most devastating part for me was that it seemed like Lily was worried that the text alone did not have enough power to convince. Under her post about the child, she purposely posted a picture. My dear baby, with her face being pinched by her sharp manicured nails, was crying with a face full of tears. As the mother of Nancy, how could I not know when Benjamin stole her away? My heart is in chaos. A sleepless night is inevitable. Nancy seems to be spiritually connected with me. Suddenly, she develops a high fever. Benjamin drove away with the only car in the villa. I held Nancy in my arms and attempted to take her to the hospital. The butler blocked my way. "Mrs. Clark, Mr. Clark has orders. You are not allowed to go anywhere without his permission." Benjamin went to see Lily, but also wanted to keep me trapped here, not wanting me to leave. I laughed bitterly with despair and couldn't help shedding tears. Nancy's fever was severe. I tried many methods, but her body temperature didn't decrease. Having no other choice, I approached the butler again. "Nancy is ill. I need to take her to the hospital. If you're afraid I'm going to run away, you can send someone to accompany me." However, the butler insisted, "Mrs. Clark, without Mr. Clark's orders, I cannot let you leave." He suggested that I call Benjamin. I dialed the number, and after a long while, someone finally picked up. But the voice on the other end was Lily's. "Olivia, everyone is currently shipping me and Benjamin. Are you not afraid that I'll spread rumors that you're the mistress if you call him at this time, trying to steal him from me?" She thought I wanted Benjamin to return home. But all I want is to save my dear daughter. After a 2-second pause, I tried my best to calmly say to her, "Lily, my daughter is sick. Please transfer the call to Benjamin and ask him to order his men to release me." "To leave?" Lily scoffed. "Olivia, if you were really willing to leave, you wouldn't have clung to the Clark family for 7 years. Don't think I don't know. This is your way to attract Benjamin." She was about to hang up. I had no choice but to call out to her pleadingly, "Lily, believe me, I really didn't want to disturb you. All I want is to save my daughter. She's sick." But before I could finish, Lily had hung up the call. Before the call ended, she laughed. "Olivia, your daughter is just sick, not dead. What good does it do to play the victim? Besides, even if she died, Benjamin wouldn't leave me. We're playing teacher and student tonight." The route of Benjamin is no longer viable. I stared at the cold rain outside, wrapped myself and Nancy tightly in the bedsheet, and opened the window. Outside the window, thunder rumbled. The walls were getting wet and slippery from the rain. I looked at Nancy's fever-flushed face, took a deep breath, and began to climb downstairs with her. The walls were too slippery, and I almost fell several times. The moment my feet hit the ground, I ignored my scraped knuckles and immediately rushed towards the hospital. The Clark family's villa was built halfway up a hill. I ran along the road for what felt like forever, even losing one of my shoes, until I finally saw a car. "My child is sick. Please, I beg you, save her." The owner of the luxury car kindly took us to the hospital. However, the doctor's expression suddenly turned solemn when he took Nancy from my arms. "Quick, prepare the operating room." Nancy's tiny body was rushed into the operating room. A few hours later, the operating room doors opened. The doctor walked out and apologized as he shook his head. "We did our best." The patient was a premature baby, weak and frail. The prolonged high fever damaged her brain tissue. "She has passed away. Nancy is dead?" I felt as if I'd been struck on the head, blindly pulling out my phone with a dazed look in my eyes. I was habitually inclined to share everything that happened in my life with Benjamin. However, at this moment, an app pinged me with a new message. 5 minutes ago, Lily posted, "I'm such a dim figure. I didn't even realize I was pregnant. My little knight, when you come into this world, you must protect mommy with daddy, drive away all the villains who want to separate us, okay?" Accompanying the post was a photo of a B ultrasound picture. In the slot allocated for the father, the name was Benjamin, and for the mother, Lily. "My Nancy is dead, and Benjamin has a new child on the way. My legs went soft, and I collapsed to the ground, finding it hard to breathe. Why? While Lily's child is envied by everyone, having a beautiful mother and wealthy father, my Nancy has to lie alone on a cold bed, traveling from being soft, warm, adorable, to rigid, cold, and dead. Why? My heart was in throbbing pain, yet not a single tear could flow out. Following the doctor's guidance, I had prepared a death certificate for Nancy. I also took her to the crematorium and with a small urn filled up the only traces left of her in this world. Benjamin's mother, Susan, saw the news online and hurriedly flew back from France. She found me in Benjamin's villa. She wanted to say something to me. But upon seeing me trying to paste Nancy's photo onto the urn, she couldn't utter a single word. How could this happen? Her eyes trembled with shock as she frantically dialed a phone call to call Benjamin back. Sadly, not only did she call back Benjamin, but also Lily. "Mrs. Clark, Ben said you like puppies. This is a purebred Bichon I picked especially for you. Do you like it?" With a flattering smile, Lily tried to put the puppy into Susan's arms while she spoke. However, Susan looked unpleasant and didn't take her words. "Benjamin, what were you doing last night? Do you know?" She wanted to tell him the news of Nancy's death. But before she could finish her sentence, Lily's dog knocked over the urn that I had placed on the table. The ceramic urn fell onto the marble floor, shattering into pieces. Nancy's ashes were scattered everywhere. I was furious. I swung my arm and slapped Lily hard in the face, but Benjamin protected her, pushing me backward. "Olivia, what are you going mad for? A dog broke a damn urn. I will compensate you. But on what grounds did you hit Lily?" Benjamin was livid. Lily curled her lips into a smile, covering her stomach, and tried to calm things down. "Ben, don't quarrel with Olivia because of me. It's perfectly understandable that she doesn't like me as I'm carrying your child without her consent." Upon hearing this, Benjamin's gaze turned icier. Seizing my neck, he threw me in front of Lily, coldly rebuking, "Olivia, why should my child need your consent? You better apologize to Lily, or else." Before he finished, Susan had already landed a slap on his face. "Scoundrel, do you know what was in that bottle? Your daughter is dead. That was her ashes." "Ashes?" Benjamin turned his face sideways from the blow, but looking at the ashes on the ground, he still scorned. "Olivia, you really stop at nothing to stay by my side. Lily just got pregnant, and you're saying that Nancy is dead, even specifically buying this kind of thing for your act. Why? Are you trying to remind me with this that you and that brat are important? Stop dreaming. If it wasn't for my mother, I would have never married you in the first place." Benjamin was right. The reason why we married was because I miraculously saved Susan's life. That year, I was a caddy in a golf course when Susan came to play and fainted due to the extreme heat. Everyone present was too scared to take the responsibility, so they just stood by and watched. I was the one who saved her. After being rescued, Susan often came to chat with me, and upon knowing that I was an orphan who had to pay for my own student loans, she proposed to take me in as her foster daughter. I rejected her several times, but in the end, I couldn't resist Susan and was brought into the Clark family. However, on my first night in the Clark family home, Benjamin, completely drunk, staggered into my room. He mistook me for someone else trying to please him and took advantage of me against my will. The next morning, when Susan called me to wake up and saw that we were lying together, she turned pale and demanded that Benjamin take responsibility for me. Benjamin was reluctant, and so was I, but Susan was adamant. In the end, Benjamin reluctantly married me. In this world, I have no relatives, and I've always believed that if I treat others sincerely, they would reciprocate my sincerity. So, for 7 years of our concealed marriage, I diligently devoted myself to the marriage between Benjamin and me. But I forgot, even I once said, "If you sincerely like it, we can sell it to you at a discount." In Benjamin's eyes, sincerity is worthless. I poured out my sincerest emotions only to face his harsh retribution. Just like now, he refused to believe that Nancy had passed away. Upon seeing me fall apart and trying to pick up Nancy, he stepped on the back of my hand. "Olivia, stop pretending. Where did you hide that annoying girl? Bring her out right now." My fingers were harshly pressed into the shattered porcelain pieces, and the fresh blood mixed with Nancy's ashes dripped by drip. It seemed that I should say something to him. But 1,000 words reached the tip of my tongue, and all I could utter was a tired sigh. Benjamin, let's divorce. When Nancy was still alive, I thought about divorce. But I am an orphan, and I know the pain of not having any relatives. I don't want Nancy to be humiliated as the child without a father by other children in the future. But now, Nancy has left. My insistence, it was unnecessary long ago. What did you say? Hearing that I want to divorce, Benjamin's face changed slightly, and he quickly let out a mocking laugh. Olivia, what kind of joke are you playing? To get me, you put in so much hard work. How could you possibly want to divorce me? This move of yours, trying to deceive me saying your daughter is dead, is even more brainless. Benjamin doesn't love me, let alone Nancy. Because Nancy is just a pitiful child who was forced into this world when Susan locked our room door from the outside for 3 days and nights. Benjamin didn't want a child, but faced to this kind of coercion, he was quicker to take off his clothes than I was. That day, he pressed me beneath him, shamelessly assaulting me, and the look in his eyes was only venomous, no tender feelings. Olivia, you really are despicable. All for a child. You calculated me like this. Fine, I will give it to you. Olivia, what the hell are you crying for? Isn't this what you wanted? Benjamin is a habitual coercer. Our marriage has become the giant spectacle of my life. I just can't comprehend why, after doing the charitable act of saving Madame Pay, I am treated this way. Why is it that Benjamin seeks vengeance against me, and why did fate take my beloved away from me? Looking at an enraged Benjamin now, all I feel is disgust. I ignore him, slowly gathering the ashes of my darling, ready to leave. Suddenly Lily knelt in front of me. Olivia, if you wish to divorce, why not go now and get the divorce papers with Ben? She pleaded. I'm pregnant with Ben's baby. If you don't love him, please let him return to me. Olivia, I and my child are begging you. She bowed her head till it hit the marble floor with a thud. She seemed to be genuinely in love with Benjamin. But if she had allowed Benjamin to take the call, would my darling still have a chance at life? She is the criminal. Benjamin is the accomplice. They both deserve to die. I grabbed Lily by her hair, pulling her up from the floor, and slapped her again and again. Benjamin wanted to stop me, but before he could touch me, Susan had already kicked him between his legs. Benjamin, you cheat on your own wife, and you're bullying her with this shameless person. From today onwards, you're no longer in charge of the company. You better learn to reflect on yourself. As she spoke, Susan picked up the little dog that Lily had brought, thrusting its butt directly into Benjamin's mouth. You're just like your freaking dad. Always treating dogs shut like a treasure. You like eating shut, right? Open your mouth. Feast on some while it's still hot. With nowhere to hide, Benjamin could only endure as Lily screamed continuously. Susan was fierce and determined to teach them a lesson, and soon the security personnel outside had the villa surrounded. The whole drama finally ended. It was Susan, her eyes swollen and red, who grabbed my hand. I'm sorry, Olivia, it's all my fault. I don't blame her. But when I bundled up my warm clothes and left, I didn't look back once. After losing Nancy, I returned to an isolated existence. I used the last savings from my bank account to rent a room. I didn't want to see the sunlight, nor did I want to converse with anyone. I just wanted to be a silent turtle licking my wounds. But others didn't want to grant me my wish. On the 3rd day after Nancy's death, a swarm of people invaded my social media account. You must be the one that Lily mentioned, who wanted to wreck her home. Shameless old woman, acting as the other woman. Do you have any self-respect left? Just look at your expression when Lily was making a phone call. Jealousy truly can disfigure a person's appearance. Following Lily's insinuation, a crowd of people captured my expression when I heard her talking on the phone with Benjamin. They turned it into an emoji. They accused me of having malicious intentions, claiming that I was envious of how Lily's happiness surpassed mine. They posted my obituary in my comment section. What's more, some even used AI face-swapping technology to morph me into the female protagonist in vulgar videos. Standing on the high ground of morality, they pointed fingers at me, the woman attempting to interfere in a marriage. Even my agent, upon seeing these messages, sent me a contract termination agreement. Olivia, I have been generous to you over the years, But because of your actions, our firm is now boycotted by the public. We've all been cursed out because of you. If you don't terminate the contract now, you really don't know what you are doing." They thought I would cling to the status of an artist, but I quickly agreed to terminate the contract and contacted a professional lawyer to handle everything for me. Outraged netizens thought their Beat the Mistress campaign had succeeded. But before they could rejoice, a video suddenly emerged on the internet. In the video, I was running in the rainy night with Nancy in my arms, kneeling down on the spot to beg the doctor to save her. But the child still died. I was the only one clutching her as I went to the crematorium and then brought back her little box home. It was a surveillance video. On the huge street full of people coming and going, I was alone all along. After the video was released, amidst the onslaught of insults, slowly came other voices. I didn't expect Olivia, who always behaves coquettishly, to be so sincere when she's a mother. Her involvement is indeed wrong, but I think, if my mother would do this for me, I wouldn't be crying in a rented room thousands of miles away. Everybody stop cursing Olivia. She's not a good person indeed, but she just lost her child. That's punishment enough. My helplessness silenced the onlookers' attacks. Yet, I was not ready to let it end just like that. Nancy is my child, and I could not let her be called a bastard after her death. So, quickly, I logged into Weibo and drafted a long post detailing my initial encounter and marriage with Benjamin. As I came to the end of the story, tears were streaming down my face, but I still posted our marriage certificate with Benjamin. If it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have returned to that villa on that day. My Nancy wouldn't have been harmed a second time. When the long post was published, it stirred a shock across the internet. Among them, the fans of Lily were the most outraged. They thought Lily was pure and innocent, but she completely fell from grace. Her alternate account, full of posts about her happiness, almost drove me to death, now became the weapon that pierced her. Yet I was not satisfied with this outcome. Both Benjamin and Lily were at fault. Why should Benjamin scapegoat? So, when I posted on Weibo again, I specifically tagged Benjamin's account. "Benjamin, let's divorce. I feel humiliated being with a man like you." 2 weeks later, outside the city hall, just as Benjamin stepped out of his car, he was immediately besieged by reporters, their cameras and microphones invading his personal space. "Mr. Clark, are all the accusations from Ms. Martin on the internet true?" "Mr. Clark, it is widely known that the Clark family is strict and disciplined. Now that your own biological daughter has died, do you still have a place in the Clark family's future?" "Mr. Clark, you married Miss Martin out of gratitude. Throughout these past 7 years, hasn't that gratitude ever faltered or diminished?" Under the relentless glares of flashing lights, Benjamin found it hard to open his eyes. His lips moved as if trying to say something. In the end, he just cast his gaze at me, over the crowd. After deciding to divorce Benjamin, I stopped wearing those limited edition or high-end designer clothes. Even though I knew there would be media presence today, I chose to wear the simplest black dress. Seeing me in black, Benjamin suddenly realized that today marked the 7th day since Nancy's passing. As he took off his red tie and began walking towards me, the deep remorse in his eyes finally overwhelmed him. "I'm sorry, Olivia. I didn't expect Nancy to fall ill that day. I really didn't. I'm sorry." If I had known earlier, he tentatively tried to hold my hand, but the moment he lowered his eyes, he saw my bare ring finger and hesitated abruptly. I used to fantasize about Benjamin, because getting married to him without love was too painful. So I always imagined that Benjamin loved me and was willing to give me a home. 7 years into our marriage, I would always cherish, like a priceless treasure, the wedding ring that Benjamin personally put on my finger, not daring to remove it. And it was precisely because I always wore my wedding ring, yet couldn't bring myself to say who my other half was. Netizens began to speculate frequently, suggesting that I had been a kept woman for many years, and that he thought I was an embarrassment and didn't want to acknowledge my status. Back then, everyone mocked me, but I never took off the ring. Now, Benjamin is wearing that ring, yet I've already moved on. Benjamin looked at my hand, felt a tighten in his chest, clearly feeling the agony of something that once belonged to him suddenly leaving. "Olivia." He wanted to say something more, but I had already pushed a pen into his hand. "Mr. Clark, you have already wronged my daughter once. Do you still want to wrong Lily's son as well?" In the end, Benjamin signed the divorce agreement. However, he looked at me in a daze with an incomprehensible gaze. "Olivia, sometimes I really wonder, have you ever loved me at all? You were the one who stayed after 7 years. I couldn't drive you away. You urged me to get a divorce, begged me to build a family with someone else. You." His gaze lingered on me for longer and longer, as if he regretted his actions, piercing me with his stare as if trying to see through me. Then he cast his eyes down and gave a slight sigh. "Olivia, Nancy was my first child. Her departure left me with such regret. But you just gave up on me, and I really can't convince myself that you weren't using me before. Even till now, Benjamin still wanted me to reveal my heart to him, but I just thwacked that divorce book belonging to Benjamin on his face and walked away. You, Benjamin, are an animal who doesn't deserve anyone's love. Nancy never called you daddy even until her last breath. That alone should explain enough. Why don't you just believe that I've been using you for the past 7 years, if that brings you any relief?" Flashes began to fire off frequently. Amidst the fervent screams of the reporters, I left in my car. "Benjamin, you wish for me to admit that I truly love you. However, you don't know, sincerity, once lost, cannot be revived. Once you lose it, prepare yourself for a lifetime of absence." The online controversy about me ceased once I decided to file a divorce with Benjamin. Surprisingly, there was a small group of people who were sympathetic to my situation, who secretly sent me comforting messages. They became my strongest supporters, advising me not to drown in my emotions and to seek comfort elsewhere. I thought it was a good suggestion, so I bought an airplane ticket and went directly to an acting training program abroad. On the night before I went abroad, I had a dream. In the dream, Nancy had grown up quite a bit, and she was wearing a beautiful princess dress. She shoved the airplane ticket into my hand, her grape-like big eyes staring at me non-stop. "Mom, I came to you because I wanted you to be happy. But you're always crying, and I don't want to stay and be a burden to you. Mom, when you're happy, I will come to find you again. Mom, I would always choose you as my mom." When I woke up, my cheeks were wet, but my heart, which has always been heavy from losing Nancy, felt much lighter. I thought, Nancy is right. A child should be the result of parents' love, not a shackle constraining them. Once I can rely on myself and make others feel my happiness, Nancy and I will meet again. Not many people know me overseas, where I've indulged in acting for 3 long years. My teacher, who has a vast network, often recommends me for cameo appearances in various drama groups. I have no ulterior motives. I don't consider the amount of content. I only want to portray the role well. Yet, unexpectedly, over the 3 years, the number of clips featuring me gradually increased. Once again, at an awards ceremony, a group of young faces called me Miss Martin as soon as they saw me. I smiled at them. Walking a long way out, I could still hear their conversation. "Miss Martin is super cool and pretty. Actually, a big part of why Miss Martin got cyberbullied back then is because she's too beautiful. She's actually a very nice person." I was puzzled for a moment, feeling a bit uncomfortable about it. But in the end, I lightly curved my lips, contacted the staff, and sent those kids some gifts from my endorsement. Spring came and winter left, another autumn year. An internationally acclaimed director invited me to take the lead in her movie, Lost One. The script logic of Lost One is meticulous, with distinct character settings and some elements of mystery. It was rated as the annual brain-burning film shortly after its premiere. The box office growth exceeded everyone's imagination. As the undisputed lead actress, I was predicted by the industry to become the next best actress. Just as I was full of praises and flowers, Benjamin and Lily appeared in my sight again. That day I finished work quite late. By the time I got home, it was already midnight, but Lily had somehow found my information and was waiting outside my door with her child. Upon seeing me, her eyes reddened, and she knelt down in front of me with her child. "Miss Martin," she confessed, "I know I was wrong in the past. But now that Benjamin and I have a child this big, please let us go." As Lily spoke, she forcefully pushed her son to kowtow towards me. I was confused about the situation, but seeing her child's dull gaze and drooling mouth, I felt something was wrong. Lily's carefully planned child seemed to be abnormal. Seeing me staring at her son, Lily's tears quickly flashed a trace of resentment, and then her cry grew louder. "Miss Martin," she begged, "you have everything now. Stop taking my husband away from me. I beg you." "My child needs a father. You can't destroy our family." Before Lily could finish her sentence, a skinny man suddenly dashed forward, grabbing her by the collar. "Lily, what are you doing here? Aren't you ashamed enough?" The man's outburst frightened a boy into crying. I was startled for a second, blinking slightly. It took me quite a while to recognize that the down-and-out man standing before me was Benjamin. Susan did what she said she would. After kicking Benjamin out of the company, she never let him return. The Clark Corporation was now managed by professional managers. Benjamin had all his resources taken away by the Clark family, and he was now laboring away for others to support Lily. Lily's acting career was on the rise, but her indiscreet actions led her endorsers to sever ties. The dozen or so brands she was representing sent her lawyer letters. They all demanded compensation from Lily. Lily's savings from the past few years quickly ran out. And just around this time, I divorced from Benjamin. Benjamin didn't love me, but after losing me, he couldn't help comparing Lily to me. Benjamin yearned for my cooking skills, frugality, and easygoing nature. But Lily was the princess he had spoiled by his own hand. Why would she humble herself to me? Even though they had gone through the trouble of getting married, they ended up bickering every day. Benjamin felt like he had given up everything for Lily. Similarly, Lily believed that, had Benjamin dealt with her properly in the past, she wouldn't be the target of public criticism now. They harbored resentment towards each other. Benjamin smoked every day while Lily frequently drowned her sorrows in alcohol. Thus, when Lily gave birth, the amniotic fluid tested positive for cerebral palsy as soon as the child was born. Lily was terrified, but Benjamin felt even more regretful. He thought of my Nancy and missed the voice that he had never heard, Dad. Then I came back. Benjamin was thinking about reconciling with me, replaying my movies at home over and over again, studying the routes that might lead to a chance encounter with me. But before he could make a grand appearance, Lily found him first. Just like I did back then, for the sake of giving her child a complete family, she sincerely lowered her guard towards her relationship rival, but Benjamin only thought it was disgraceful. "Olivia, don't be angry. I'll take her away right now." Benjamin didn't want to expose his chaotic family in front of me, so he awkwardly pulled his child with cerebral palsy and his dramatic wife with a forced smile. Watching all this, I found it ludicrous. I watched quietly for a long while until Benjamin kicked Lily and her son till they coughed up blood. Only then did I call the security to kick them out. As the door closed, I took out a photo of Nancy, laughing softly as I talked to her. "Nancy, did you see? The ones who bullied you, they all got their retribution." At the end of September, I, in the gaze of everyone's admiration, won the Best Actress award with honor. When the host invited me to say a few acceptance words, I paused for a second, then revealed a smile that could be called a rebirth from the ashes. Applause erupted from the crowd below. A few younger fans even shouted, "Miss Martin, you're awesome!" With a tranquil smile, I thanked all the people who have helped me in the past years. My speech was conventional, but it was sincere enough. Unexpectedly, as I was leaving the stage, a cameraman in the front row suddenly charged at me with a sharp knife. "Olivia, I will kill you!" Everyone was in panic. But before my bodyguards could protect me, Benjamin rushed out from the dark. He shielded me with his body from the blade. When the crowd subdued the criminal together and lifted the person's hat, they discovered that the person was none other than Lily. She was pinned to the ground, incessantly hurling insults. "Olivia, what's so great about you? Why can't Benjamin forget about you? I'm going to kill you! I'm going to kill you! All that is yours today should have been mine." She deceitfully stole my husband with her painstaking efforts. But how could she bear to see her seemingly triumphant marriage turn out to be unhappy? I hid my mocking expression quietly behind my eyes. Benjamin, with his pale face and painful grimace and blood continuing to flow from his abdomen, was still defending me. "Crazy woman, shut your mouth. If it wasn't for you seducing me back then, do you think I would have chosen you?" Lily looked at Benjamin, disbelieving. He used to call her baby, now he calls her a crazy woman. She wanted to cry and laugh at the same time. Desperately, she wriggled free from the security guard's grip and stabbed Benjamin again. "I'll kill you, Benjamin! I bore you a son! Why don't you love me?" Benjamin was left speechless. Even after being stabbed twice and all the way up until Sussex was taken away by the police, he still couldn't move due to the unbearable pain. He lay on the ground in anguish and agony, reaching out to me with his blood-covered fingers. "Olivia, I realize I was wrong about what happened that year. I dare not ask for your forgiveness, but I hope you can let go of your hatred for me and let me visit Nancy Graveyard from time to time." His words were full of emotion. All I felt was absurdity. Under the curious gaze of everyone, my face full of emotion, I leaned into Benjamin's ear and whispered a few words. "Benjamin, you owe me 2 lives. Who made you think you could negotiate with me just by taking a few stabs for me? If you are alive, I will torment you. If you die, Nancy wouldn't forgive you either. Benjamin, this is the path you chose." The phrases took a heavy toll on Benjamin, his eyes suddenly plunging into darkness. His lips moved, but he could not utter another word. Due to excessive blood loss, he was sent to the hospital in complete mental disarray. Gripping the nurse's hand, he called out my name, repeatedly mumbling, "I'm sorry." Other than Lily in the prison, no one else cares about his remorse. I am no longer who I used to be, and the audience is no longer what it used to be. I am independent, dedicated, and the past filth cannot ensnare me anymore. Leaving from the award ceremony, I roll down the car window to take a deep breath. Above me is the pitch-black night sky dotted with myriad stars, and I, finally, have gained all the freedom I have longed for. The end?